Hey, welcome back to another podcast, Printing's Alive, the podcast where we talk everything print global, and I mean anything from paper, cement, glasses, electronics, I don't care. Anyways, we're moving on. Today we have a really special group. We have Girls Who Print. Welcome, ladies.
Hello, Warren.
Hello, hello. And the reason we have Girls Who Print on today is I thought would be a great idea to introduce the group because the group has just went through a change. They've gone from, I don't know what they were, an association, a business, or something, to a nonprofit. The nonprofit just makes it more, puts it out there, makes it more reachable for everybody. And then at the same time, Girls Who Print can now define and tell you exactly what they're doing because they have a mandate, they have a mission, they have a board, they have everything else that a nonprofit has. So welcome, Deborah. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you so much, Warren, for having us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Warren.
Pleasure's all mine. So which one of you wants to go first, Deborah, and tell us a little bit about Girls Who Print and it going non-profit?
Sure. Thanks so much. Prior to this year, Girls Who Print is and remains the largest network of women in the printing industry with more than 11,500 participants. And it was imperative for us, to your most excellent point, that becoming a nonprofit would enable us to really have missions that are transparent, that are things that people and companies can get behind. And also, of course, being a nonprofit means if you're in the United States, these are considered charitable donations. So whether you are a member or you want to sponsor, if you pay through the United States, it is considered a charitable donation, which was actually important to a lot of companies out there, in the sense that they had a justification for supporting the movement, and it was more difficult when the money was going into the Print Media Center bank account because that was Girls Who Print was under the Printiverse umbrella. So now with it pulled out, it is a separate entity. There is a board, as you said. There is an advisory board. There's 3 directors. I am, bound by the bylaws and the way we operate and function, and it has really elevated our mission in the sense that it is more formalized, and that turned into us because we needed funding in a different way. We developed a comprehensive membership program and platform to give people a reason to join us. Now, I want to say that whether or not you become a member of Girls Who Print, I mean, we hope you do because that helps us fund everything that we do. However, and there's benefits for joining, of course, but Kelly and I will never stop doing things out in the open. There is going to be everything we do of the big stuff is always out in the open, and the members will have a little more access with Ask the Experts and some skill building workshops and white papers and research that normally people would not have access to, and that's through the generosity of our sponsors. But at the heart of all of it is our mentorship program, and Kelly is the newly minted vice president and program director of Girls Who Print. So if you don't mind, I'll pass it off to her to explain all about the programs and especially our vibrant and successful mentoring program.
Well, I have a question first, though. You said there's 11,000 people that are part of Girls Who Print. Do we know how many women there are in the printing industry?
No.
Make it up.
I know that women globally, I believe globally the stat is 32% of the entire global industry is comprised of women, in no matter what their role
right.
is.
Okay, that's good.
But so the leadership roles are less than that.
Definitely. And we see mentorship as a crucial cornerstone of what we're offering, largely because mentorship is about lived experience, and it's about guidance, and it's about lifting each other up, right? And I don't know of any mentoring relationship where the mentor gets just as much as the mentee does. They're incredibly important relationships. Many of the matches that we've made have lasted 5, 6, 7 years now. I talked to one mentor who actually flew to meet her mentee in person. People have helped people
Cool.
navigate getting job interviews. It's tactical work that's happening, because you're not going to find too many printing companies in the United States, or maybe anywhere, that have formalized mentoring programs. There may be some, but we
Sorry, you're
see
not
it.
gonna. You're not gonna. Just so everyone's aware, you're not gonna find a lot of that in a lot of industries,
That's right.
right?
That's
It's not
absolutely
just. I don't
true.
want to, because we single ourselves out all the time. It's an issue everywhere.
It really is. That's such a good point. But we also know, and I'm sure this is not unique to the printing industry either, but we have a massive workforce crisis happening in this country. I don't know of
Do
any
we?
printer. I don't know of any printer. Again, I don't want to always center this around the United States, but in our experience,
It's everywhere.
everybody is staring down the barrel of massive retirements, right? And so we see Girls Who Print being a crucial element to formalizing and forming relationships with the educators and the students in this country and the students everywhere. There's some great colleges in Canada that we're working with too, because we need to show the students that they have a vibrant, viable future in the industry, that it is a great industry, that it's a very technological industry, that it is a crucial part of the marketing supply chain. Right. And so every conversation I have, because I have many, many conversations every day with potential mentors and potential mentees and educators, that this is a very kind of intertwined kind of experience right now. And without Girls Who Print, I don't know how women are going to get to the role of realizing 50% of the leadership positions in this country, because we are nowhere near it. We make up 50% of the workforce, but we do not make up 50% of the leadership. So this is a work of generations, right? But we've been doing it very consistently for going on, my goodness, it's almost 20 years, and it's just incredibly important. And everybody has a voice here. Warren, you've been incredibly supportive. And one of the reasons that we want to talk to you about this is to hear your viewpoint on a man's role in helping to empower and lift up women. I mean, we all have a role to play, right?
Yeah. So when you mentioned 50% of the workforce, I don't want to I don't want to lose sight of every company should want the best person, regardless of their gender, in that position. Like, because you need the best skills if you're going to go ahead. But you should be promoting and pushing everyone and not have anyone being held back. If I talk about print, the women I knew working in print were always just better with details and more careful and watching. No, like, those are important things. Get off the press. Who wants paper cuts anyways? But get off the press and you get into finishing, you get into quality control, you get into whatever it is. There was a little bit more attention to detail. I noticed at my company, my head shipping person, you're going to laugh, but it used to be my nanny. When kids got to the point we didn't need somebody in the house, offered her a job at my place, and she came in and just doing some bindery and helping. And the next thing you know, she's running the shipping department. How good was that?
I want to say something now that I think is a real teachable moment if it's
Go for it.
okay. So what you just communicated is actually unconscious bias in a lot of ways. And what I would like to say to everybody listening is, when you need a press operator,
Right.
don't just think that a guy would be better suited for it because you believe a woman is better suited for the management side of things, or however you want to. I'm not suggesting you said that. I mean, but it is this is the thing. We've been socialized to think this, and it's the first way we think it, of things, of what a traditional, what a man's role in a company is, what a woman's role in a company is, what a woman's role in a family is, what a man's role in a family is. I'm just saying that we grow up that way. It doesn't make it wrong that you think this way, but what I'm suggesting is that
Right.
when you're looking for the best person for the job, which we agree
Mm-hmm.
is the way to do it, don't discount people
So
because of they might be a woman running a press. Like
okay,
if
so
you
let
want
me
to
let me
target, go ahead, please.
sorry, let me just rephrase that because I get what you're saying. In my case, when I made reference to the press person, I don't know many women at all who are ready to lift 56-inch press sheets every day, all day. I'm not saying there aren't some,
Correct.
but there are
And that's
certain
actually what I
things.
was going to say to you. Like, if you
Okay.
want to work at FedEx or UPS, is a requirement that you have to be able to lift a certain amount
Right.
of weight.
So
And if
I
you can
only
do that, and if you want to do that, you should be considered if you're the best person for the position. I I don't
yeah, yeah.
believe we're having an argument or a debate here at all.
Oh,
And
not
you aren't
yet.
wrong for saying that. I just wanted to point out that it's statements like that that are just accepted, and we move on from it because we're used to these conversations.
So just and we'll get off the topic because wherever we'll go, but you know, the fact that and this is another little issue, the fact that I said it the way that I did with no meaning that you were referencing, when you bring up that meaning, it's very possible, me, I'm good, but the hair on the back of my neck could go up because I sense that I feel that there's a thing coming
Correct.
when there isn't. So we all have to be
Correct.
careful of
Yes.
what we say and how we say
Right.
it.
And I really appreciate that you said that, which is why I was very careful before I brought it up. But I couldn't let the moment go by because then I would be agreeing with what you were
Right.
saying.
Yeah, no, no, that's
And
cool.
by the way,
That's
it's not
cool.
that I don't. There is something to the hunter-gatherer thing about the traits of human beings. And I do agree that if you want, if you're looking for the person in your company to just, here's this thing, go get it, you're probably better off sending a gentleman to do that. If you want someone to look at everything, make
There,
sense of it, come up with a strategic plan for the company to win,
right.
that's
No, but
a
listen,
good.
if there's a strong woman who that's what she wants to do, she could be in the mix of fighting for the job.
Of course.
I'm just thinking in terms of, just simple basic things because it is what it is in some areas of
Right.
strength, right?
But
And whatnot.
But what you just illustrated to everybody out there is that you were able to put those hairs on the back of your neck down for a moment and take a breath and listen to what was communicated. And then you can make your assessments about if you want to take that on or not. But it it was it was a really great teaching moment for everybody out there because you didn't take it, you didn't, even though you immediately felt defensive, you didn't act on it, and you allowed for the space just to have the conversation. It's not that you're wrong and I'm right. There's nothing in there. At the end, the result should be the best, to your point, the best person for the position. It's just the unconscious bias that is not intentional in most cases, only has men
Right.
interviewing for certain jobs and would welcome women to interview for certain jobs.
Yeah, and that'll be over time. Listen, I had somebody the other day, not in print, and it's kind of just funny, but I'm chatting with a friend who's working somewhere, and she's killing it. Like, I mean, she's killing it. And there's other salespeople there, a couple gentlemen, and like the top management, they ride her. And she called and said, "What do I do?" And I said, "Well, I said, just be straight, put it on the line, but don't stand down." And I said, doing what you're doing, I said, I'm sure if you were more manly, they wouldn't give you the same thing, And so for me, first of all, when you guys allowed men, and I went and joined, I thought it was the right thing to do for the simple reason of this, and everything in my. First of all, let me just back up. I make jokes all the time. I make man jokes. I make female jokes. I'm a joker. And the times we live in, I don't really give a shit. I'm back in the days of Lenny Bruce. And when it really was humor, George Carlin, Richard Pryor, and whatever, right? And that's what it is. To me, it's only humor. So anyone who says anything to me after about it, not interested. But I was happy to join because I'm always happy to know and I'm happy to learn. But a changing point in the man-woman thing came for me when I had a daughter. Because everybody I talked to, and what I said to the person yesterday was, because I don't want to tell everybody what to do, and and I suggested to them that when they're talking with their other counterparts, I said, ask one of them how he would react if his daughter came home and told him the same story where she's killing it, the best in the company, and all they keep doing is want to know why she came in late. And no one ever asked me why I'm late. Right?
Well, I think it's really important that we think of this in terms of the amount of time it's going to take, right? We've done a lot of research and seen that you can predict that women will not reach career trajectory parity until 2050 or something like this, right? And the three of us, we can all agree, are Gen X, right? So Deborah, you brought up some really awesome points about the fact that from the moment we were born, we were taught certain things about what it was to be a female, just like Warren was taught things about, what it was to be a boy and a man in the world. And I think what I celebrate is I have two Gen Zs and two Gen Alphas in my house. We don't utter the phrase man up, right? We don't utter the phrase you throw like a girl, right? So we know that younger generations are being raised with a different lens, a different viewpoint, and a different lived experience. And so for those of you watching this who are running companies and thinking about this and all going, we got to get more Gen Z in here now. It is to shore up our behaviors and how we treat people, our hiring practices, our onboarding practices, our training, everything, not to accommodate them, but to welcome them, right? And to say that we are going to be better as organizations when we have young people. We're going to be better as organizations when we have multiple viewpoints, multiple voices, multiple brains, right? We just did a whole podcast earlier today about neurodivergence. And this is the work of Girls Who Print, is visibility, and it's workforce development. And it is leading by example too, to show that, to your point, Warren, about your friend, women are killing it at work. Women, we know that there are female CEOs, there are females heading organizations. There are women in tremendous positions of power in this country. And for us, it's to amplify those voices and multiply that, right? That's what we're trying to.
I know a lot of guys who want to be stay-at-home dads, right? And
Sure.
we've been discriminated against. We've been put in a place where
with paternity leave too, 100%.
Right?
We fight for your right for that as well. Yeah,
that's such a
never mind that. Yeah, I want the partner to go out and do everything.
Yeah.
Open the door. I'll make dinner. No, I'm just kidding with some of that stuff, but not
actually,
really.
Yeah, I actually am friends with a father of two children, and he is a single dad, and he has to make the same accommodations that mostly you hear women having to make at work, about travel schedules and work schedules and when they can be online and when they can't be online. And it was actually eye-opening for me, because I thought, he probably doesn't have any of the obstacles, and they were the exact same obstacles. So somehow that made me think that we have more people to bring to the table. And certainly at this point, regarding men coming to Girls Who Print, there will always be a few things that will be women only. There'll be a couple of the forums that are women only, and there may be a couple
as
of
there
events.
should be.
And there will also be exclusive content for our gentlemen allies and exclusive forums for our gentlemen allies. So everybody has what has been deemed a safe space, which means whatever the group will accept, you're allowed to, communicate with each other within the boundaries of that group's decorum, right? But we must move forward together, especially since, some of these management styles that have been more oppressive to everybody. I mean, everybody go out the door when the boomers and the Gen X's are out. The millennials are more open to having more people at the table because that's the way that they grew up, or they saw what the Gen Xers did and they were like, we don't want any part of that. So I'm a little hopeful that we are at a cusp of things changing as more of the millennials become business owners. How they're going to deal with the Gen Zers, I don't know. That should be interesting to see. What do you
Well,
think about that?
I don't even like the fact that everybody's labeled with something because they're walking in with predetermined. If that person walking in is not a Gen Zer and we're calling them Gen Zers, it's no different than calling anybody else another name because they're offended and they're already feeling not comfortable because they've been labeled. A label's a label, good, bad. I'm just saying, right? But I think we're at a good time now. Women in print and just changing print in general, even for younger people, because we are in such need of people coming in that, I joke that the front of a press now is not the old days. The front of the press looks like a video game, right? You're a pressman, you don't really get that dirty because more of the new presses have the canisters for the ink and you're
Press
not
people,
scooping. Press people, what'd I say? Pressman,
men.
whatever, press person, call them whatever. And by the way, that stuff is just because it's been so long. But when I look at my son and where he doesn't say things. He's pretty clear on stuff. And when I say certain things, he calls me out on it just because he grew up not talking that way. People have to forget some of the older people. It's not about meaning it. It's just about the flow of words and the way that it's all. Listen, my father at the office used to say, "Hey, hello, dear," to the receptionist.
Yeah, well, that's what it's
No,
called.
one day one day she's okay. The next day she's ready to sue. The guy's 80 years old. What did you think he was doing? Right? Like
Right.
it's been like that for years. Anyways, my point is now is a good time for everybody and for companies to embrace just doing it right, men and women, because we need younger people. So it doesn't matter what specific job it is. We have to dress it up. We have to make it look, engaging, encouraging, educational. The folders today, you're not folding and putting pieces of paper under to get your thickness of the fold. You're pushing a button with 300 presets for paper and design and template. So anybody could run, or more people can run folders if you're mechanically inclined because it still takes something, right? And that's like for every job. So we should be promoting.
We agree.
Yeah.
We should be promoting to everybody now the
Correct.
industry. And I think the industry itself, like leave out women for a moment, the industry itself has issues. And it's even got issues because it can't attract younger men,
Correct.
right? So we're making it twice as hard. So we should all just come together to attract people.
Yes. And we know there are people doing this really well, right? So we know two things. We know there are dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of young people getting ready to graduate with print management degrees, graphic arts degrees, business degrees, right? Let's not put too much tunnel vision on this. We should be talking to kids in business schools, right? People that are interested in marketing, those kinds of things. So we know that's a truth. We also know that a very, very small percentage of companies have robust, specific internship programs, but it's a tiny little number. So the disconnect between these kids coming out and the people that are ready to receive them, again, that's where we see Girls Who Print and other organizations, playing a very crucial role in making those connections. The associations are doing a good job of this. But yes, the industry, Warren, you're absolutely right. The industry has a responsibility here, and we don't really have like a governing body of our industry in this country. I don't know. I mean, I think that they must be doing it in other countries because I just saw a post from a UK company that has a very robust apprenticeship program.
The Europeans they do have their apprenticeships. But you just hit upon something really, really important, which is why I think that Girls Who Print is such an important organization, because we are independent. The other organizations are all part of something else. They're an offshoot of a specific segment of the industry, or they are run by organizations that have vested interests in you know, helping their own membership, and there's nothing wrong with those things.
Right.
But the only neutral thing out there is actually Girls Who Print, and we will direct people to the correct organization if they're looking for specific help in wide format or specific help in flexography. You know, they're in Australia, there's a robust women's organization there. So we have to, you know, be citizens of the world, and which is one of the reasons why, you know, the regional organizations of Girls Who Print are so important. And we're actually I'm going to give you an exclusive on your podcast, Warren.
Yay.
We are finalizing a very solid relationship with the FESPA Federation to work with them and support all the women in around the world that participate at FESPA events, and with the individual organizations within the regions and the companies. And we will be launching our Girls Who Print Europe at the upcoming Global FESPA coming up. We're also going to have events in Hunkler. So the international community is also coming to the table. Girls Who Print has always been global, but they are stepping up in more ways than I can even tell you now. There is a Girls Who Print Japan that runs independently because none of us speak Japanese, unfortunately. And we actually got up and we did a presentation at 1:00 in the morning for they had a Girls Who Print event. And we understand that as Americans, we have a limited view of the world and how things work individually. I know. Warren,
As a
you're in
Canadian,
Canada.
I just want to tell you that I agree with you.
Yes. We understand that fully. So we're not trying to go into Italy or Japan and say, this is the way you need to do things. We're here to say, how can we help you support your local community? We always will take care of the biggest things, the Girls Who Print Day, the International Women's Conference. Not that they couldn't have their own, they could if they wanted to. But what I'm saying is that we all have to do this together globally in the industry. And,
Sure.
welcoming students and men is definitely part of why we believe that there are many options out there to join things, but I would just, implore people to just take a look and see if it's something, that you or your peers or your colleagues or your connections can benefit from, and support programs that actually don't have vested interests in them.
So I'm going to make a suggestion for whoever's listening. If you're a print owner, and I don't care if you're a man or a woman, you should join Girls Who Print. You should get the logo, and it should say proud member on your website. For the simple, and by the way, I am not speaking because I am so righteous in buying everything. This is strictly from a hiring position, right? Marketing position. You should have the logo on the website. If there are other women that are looking around and they see that, that will give you a jump up over the next person, right? And then, of course, you have to live by what you say, which is also another good thing. If you have a wife or a daughter, I'm sure she could help you. But I think the more people that sign on and show it, right? And whether they come to every meeting or not, or they should have, there's women in the company. If you're an owner and you're going to join for the logo to have on the website, that's great. Make sure that you take one or two in from the company and tie them in so they represent you there. Right. And I think that is a first start to everybody and jumping on. And by the way, to the owners out there, you know what? I don't know what the cost is for a company, $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700, $800, $1,000. Don't tell me you can't afford it. You make bigger mistakes and you spend stupid money. So spend the few $100s, spend whatever it is, and just make the effort to show that you care. Even if you don't, make the effort to show you care for the people that work for your company first.
Yeah.
How's that for telling it straight.
It is straight, and I appreciate it, because coming from you, I mean, anybody who listens to you or knows you knows you're not saying things just to say them. Like, I don't say things just to say them. Then there's, so I really appreciate and respect how you're communicating this to everybody, and I really do thank you, because we need people like you to help us, because as in our little exchange that we had before, if it could go in any different direction, and we don't want to become lecturing people, and we're not the word
I almost made a
police.
joke there, but I didn't. I held back. I bit my tongue.
I'm just saying, we're not the word police. We're not trying to focus on words. All we're trying to say is
Actions.
that the only word I want to focus on is unconscious. We understand that in most cases, myself included, are making decisions based upon my life experience. Whether it's true or not, I formulated some opinion about it. And it's only when I'm challenged on, why do you think that way, that I think back and I don't know, And I'll give you an example for printing. When I was working in advertising agencies, I had you're not going to be happy when I say this. I had printers that I worked with on, let's say, commercial print stuff. And then I had a wide format printer that I work with on wide format. Did I ever ask my commercial printers if they had wide format equipment, or my wide format printer if they had commercial equipment? No,
because we didn't think that way back then.
I get the wide format from the wide format and the commercial from the commercial, and that's
we
the way
didn't
it
think
is.
that way. People weren't doing it all.
Exactly. So that's the way I thought it was, until someone said, we can do it all. And I was like, what? What do you mean you can do it all? Yes, we started investing in wide format equipment. Now, and what did I do? I wanted to be where I could do the most things in one place with one PO to rule them all.
Because you're not running around.
Exactly. And that's the way we think about Girls Who Print. Whether you're a paid member or a free member, whether you're a sponsor or just somebody who's benefiting from our programming, we still have the good of the industry as the mission. Critical is make the industry more attractive to everybody, whether it's students or people in your community looking for work. Or I work with I'm on the advisory board for something called 5 Keys that helps people who were in jail come out and get jobs and skills. And there's one of the people on the board had got into trouble when he was younger. And now he learned skills through the 5 Keys. And now not only does he own his own construction company, but he's hiring the people from the program. And they have a print program there, and they have other things that are let's say, manual skills that you can learn. You can learn how to print on a printing press. You can learn how to use the cutting machine and things like that. So, and you can learn how to be a pre-press person, because some of the people in these programs also work behind computers. So there is a wealth of people to work in the printing industry if we sort of let go some of these preconceived notions, including any college degree. Not everybody has access to college. I don't care who you are.
I dropped out of college. I couldn't sit there. I was going,
and
crazy.
That's another thing we were talking about. We did a podcast this morning with Sarah Hannison. She's a productivity coach, and we were talking about neurodiversity, and that it's something that has to be recognized. If you have a great employee and they're fidgeting or something, they're not the weird guy, like me, I'm just saying.
How many people ask their doctor what percentage they graduated when they got their degree? None. Right? None. Some of those doctors have to finish at the bottom of the class.
Right.
It's just, so you don't need to know everything all the time. It doesn't mean a good person with good learning is good. By the way, that's why at my company, we used to do all these psychological tests for certain positions, A, to make sure we had the right person, and B, to make sure we didn't bring in the wrong person. You bring in the wrong person, everybody already knows it. There's no secrets.
Yeah.
But listen, our industry is not known for being so much forward thinking as a norm, that people spend money in certain areas. Like, people say to me, why would you spend $1,800 on a test? Well, you have a guy come in for 12 weeks, it's 12, 13 grand. What's another 1,800 to find out if he's the right guy or not? Plus whatever he sees or she sees all around, right? You got to make smart decisions. Smart decisions are smart decisions.
Yeah. And that might be removing a college degree as a requirement to fill out an application. Could be that simple. You could open up the doors to 1 million people who'd be fantastic. You know, I know you're in Montreal, so and French is the official language there, right? So it's not. I thought French is. You don't. I'm sure you speak French.
I don't talk politics.
I don't think I'm talking politics. Am I
French
talking
here's politics?
Okay, my apologies. We just know that when
It's
you
all
go
good.
to
It's all
Montreal,
good.
there's the French
There will
Canadians.
not be a French version of this podcast.
Okay, but
had-
I'm assuming that if there's a print shop looking for workers, that there's ads in French and there's ads in English, or there has to be both, right?
Well, okay, we're not going to go into it, but they're French only. You're not allowed English ads, but that's a whole other story.
Okay.
Listen, right here in Montreal, we have Rosemount Technology Center, which is a vocational training. I used to have them in once or twice a year with their class to give a tour, right? And the class was filled with men and with women. And I break it into 3 groups, just total groups. I didn't break out the sexes. And we'd have different people, including myself, and give the tour. And at the end of the day, or at the end of the tour, we come in, everybody would get a portfolio, a little bit of information on the company, because I was interested, I wanted them to be interested in the company to call back. And then the other thing was, I gave them the portfolio because I said to them all, hey, go home and give this to your parents. If any of them are in a print position, like, have them call me. I mean, I'm always selling, but they appreciated it. The school appreciated it. And then it was amazing when you would get a call back from 1 or 2 people if they could do a stage in your place. And if you hire someone for a stage, like, why wouldn't you hire them for whatever minimum wage is after, just to start and let them go?
What's a
and
stage?
give them an opportunity to excel.
What's a stage?
3 weeks of I don't know what you would call it.
Like on the job sharing or like job shadowing.
Well, okay, call it a stage, call it a stage. It's you basically work for 3-4 weeks without getting paid, because it goes towards your schooling and the experience.
Like rotate through different businesses, I bet you, in that time frame. That's cool.
Yeah, or they pick one, but whatever. It's along the way of just giving people an opportunity to be in the place, see what goes in, work it. You don't really put them in a big giant position, because you can't. But it's just the opportunity, just to bring them in. And a lot of those people are a lot of people that come from other countries as well. But that doesn't matter, right? It just, to me, people are people. You need to get a job done. Everybody should be able to work together. You want to build up as many strong hands as possible, right? It's not about the sex, but getting the job done. And you want to be fair to everybody. Life is just so loaded with stress and bullshit. And today the world is in such an uneasy place. Forget whatever side or whatever you believe or think. It's just nobody could talk to anybody normally without having, digging their opinion in with their heels, which doesn't make it easy. So we get away from that. We go to work, and at work, we got to make it fun. We got to make it enjoyable. We got to make it for what everybody wants, and do it kind of just like that,
Yeah.
How many members would you like to have?
11,000.
Like, realistically, eh?
Unfortunately, I don't have realism. Is not in my.
Never was.
When it comes to things like this, I mean, we've already exceeded our immediate goal of 100 members within the first 2 weeks. So
Cool.
that was done. As a matter of fact, I have to. The first 100 members were founding members, but I looked past when it was 100. So now we're going to up it to 150, just so we can have that. Here's the last person moment.
Right.
So thank you. If anyone's listening who joins, including Warren, thank you so much for already supporting our mission. We are right now heavily planning and plotting for the rest of the year to make every minute that you spend with Girls Who Print meaningful and valuable for the time exchange. And conversations like this are really what gets them started. So thank you so much, Warren, for letting us, be a guest on your podcast today. And if there's anything we can do for you, or if anyone out there wants to join Girls Who Print, girlswhoprint.net. And just again, thank you so much for this platform to share. And while you're helping us with our allyship, I will help you with, you said you don't have an audience for podcasts. I don't necessarily believe that's true, but anything I can do
I don't count. I don't count.
Anything I can do to help that grow for you, you know that you have my support for that.
So we didn't discuss this, but and we know we don't discount print, but can you give me a code for the podcast for men? I'm discriminating, and rightfully so. I want to get them to join. So maybe, and I don't know what it's going to be, but it'll be something. I'll put it there and I'll promote it after.
Absolutely.
But if you heard about it on my podcast, join and support Girls Who Print, and support the industry and support women in general. Support your mother, support your daughter, support your granddaughter. How's that?
I love it.
It's it doesn't get any better than that. Oh my God, I could have made so many jokes. I didn't, so I'm already trying to change. My tongue has holes in it from my teeth. But I don't want anyone to think I'm so perfect, because I'm not. But anyways, wow. So you know what? I'm happy that you guys showed up today. I'm always happy when anyone shows up.
I'm going to give you two a little kind of clashing moment. The first time I ever met you face to face, Warren, was in the Printerverse. And Deborah, I fangirled all over him because I loved the 2009 I Love Printing video that you made, Warren. I still watch it and I still love it. Some of the best people I know in my life are from this industry, and the three of us here on this are here because we freaking care, right? If you strip everything else away, we are here because we care a lot. And so I want to thank the two of you. Warren, it means a lot to us to give us this platform, and we are extremely appreciative, and we will pay it back in droves through
whatever. You know what? You pay it back because you do what you do. And if everybody just does what they do, it doesn't have to be for any reason other than the right reason, then that's what it's good. I mean, and listen, love print. I hope to be able to find some good customers that want to pay for some help, because we are in a cheap industry. But the bottom line is, and I say it all the time, the world does not function without print, packaging, anything. And anyone who wants to argue with me, please do. I haven't had an argument in a long time. So if you own who we are as an industry, we are not a commodity, right? I hate that word, commodity, but we are in the best industry in the world. We make the world run. We make everybody's lives better. So own it, be proud of it, be happy about it. And just that's why the podcast's called Printing's Alive. I just made that up, but it sounds pretty good.
Love it. We love it.
Anyway, so I'm going to thank both of you. And to everybody who made it to the end, I'm always grateful if you've made it to the end. I know it's a hard one. I try to make it to the end of all the podcasts I listen to, but I'm so grateful that you even tuned in. Anything I could do for you, if you want to hear something, a topic, if you know someone who wants to be on and say something, just reach out to me, let me know. This is going to be on every week, the podcast, and I just want to promote print. So to everybody, you guys, girls, thank you. Everybody else, thank you, and we'll see you on the next one.